I believe this is episode 41 of the Emergency Storage Shed Cleanup series. I've done lots of repairs lately and processing, and I've got some scrapping to do. And even though my workshop here is as cluttered as ever, at least I'm making space in this other part. Let's go and have a look. We are indeed getting somewhere. In fact, look, I've even got carpet on the floor. Amazing. And recently I had a little job to do for a drill, and this pedestal drill, even though that's not its final resting place, I could actually use it. So I have undertaken a workshop job in the emergency storage shed. That's got to be a positive. Right, what are we up to today? Well, if we scan around, we've emptied the top shelf. I'd like to get these old rusty shelves here out of here at some stage. That will give us even more floor space. So we're going to work our way down those shelves. I've been still putting a few little things in this grey shelf unit here, things I'm going to keep and things I'm sorting out. It's actually quite handy having those pigeonholes there. There is an old 70s era cassette radio that I'm keeping just for parts. It's a bit too far gone to restore, but who knew that Reader's Digest, yes, the company that produced books, actually had some little boom boxes back in the 70s. It's got a lot of issues, that one. There's no battery compartment. Both panels off each end are damaged. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to keep it for now. If I ever find another one, it will be handy for parts. There might be some interchangeable bits. I do have a lot of boom boxes to do down the track, so that's fine. That can sit in there. Okay, we've got the barrels out of there, the cream cans last time, and I'm going to set up my electrolysis tank very shortly, so look out for that video. Let's get onto the top shelf on this cabinet. I thought we might do this box here, and then we'll tackle all these circuit breakers. Probably just a scrap out video. I don't know what's in this box, and then we're going to work our way down. So without further ado, let's take this box into the workbench. For those new to the channel, there's 20 years worth of accumulating all stacked in that shed next door. We had to move it all quickly when my old shop sold. I'm a second-hand dealer. I clean out other people's sheds, and someone said recently how ironic it was that I spend my life cleaning out other people's sheds, whereas mine just becomes more and more cluttered. Well, I'm trying to keep up with it. I like the challenge. I'm enjoying the process. Let's have a look in here. Doesn't look very exciting, but who knows what we'll find. Rightio, we have an old paintbrush. We have random tins of, oh, it's a real mixed bag. There's tools, there's electrical, there's hardware. This is a genuine assortment, and I don't remember where this came from. And oh, I don't think this was out of my shed. I think this was out of someone else's shed, and I don't think I've ever unpacked it. How's that for a screwdriver with a misshapen handle? Clearly been very hot at some stage. So there's going to be a bit of scrap metal in here. There could be some stuff we could keep. That's Celastic, and it still feels like Celastic is a silicon gasket compound. Still feels like that might be okay. Well, we might keep and use that. So I do clean out other people's sheds for a living, well, houses as well. Another one of my series at the moment, if you're new here, is cleaning up my parents' farm, and they've been there for 60 years. The property is sold, and we've got to go through and clean all that out. In between repairing and all sorts of other things I do, just trying to keep it out of landfill. This is really a mixed bag. Let's go through one tin at a time, and we'll sort it out into, well, basically groups of what's scrap, what's valuable, what we can use, what we can't use. Hopefully not much rubbish. It is raining a little bit here at the moment, so we have the wonderful sound of rain on a tin roof. Hopefully it doesn't get too loud. That brush, whilst it's probably no good for painting, is actually really good for cleaning up stuff, maybe even washing degreaser over an engine or something, so I'll use that in my shed here. I do have a box for hose clamps. I sell those through the shop. Let's just tip it out. Whoa, I told you it was a mixed bag. I don't know where this has come from. Let's go through it. Someone has made a spark plug cleaner from an hacksaw blade. That's actually a really good trick, and that works very well. If you ever have to clean out the carbon from around the spark plug, file the hacksaw blade down and you can work around it. Works really well. I might even hang that one up, you know. A starter from a fluoro light, that can just go in the e-waste. a little bit of a, it looks like a buzzer, probably out of a greetings card, you know, the ones that play music when you open them. So that's just e-waste. We have part of a Bakelite plug here. I will keep this because quite often, yeah, this is undamaged. And I do sell the old Bakelite plugs. I get $5 each for them. And I'm sure we'll find a cap somewhere. That looks like it's one of those double-ended ones where you can plug something in and you can plug another plug in the back. But I do have a box of bits and pieces of these, and I make them up when I have the right parts. We're probably going to have some scrap metal in here as well. That will probably be brass. We'll check that with a file later. That's a buckle that can just go in the steel scrap. An old piece of emery paper is going to be rubbish. We're going to have a bit of rubbish. Oh, there's some copper pipe and a brass fitting. So that's non-magnetic. That must be probably stainless steel, I'd say. What's in this plastic bag? This is real, a mixture. I don't know where this has come from. Some sheds we clean out. Oh, look at that. We have a drill bit and a tapping, thread tapping. What size is it? 1/4 inch. It's a bottoming tap. That looks like quite a good one. I'll put that with my collection. And the drill bit, well, I've got a box of those at the moment. I've got to go through and sell all the excess ones. Looks like a sprayer from a watering system. That would be a little hook from pegboard. Hook for an old door, another hose clamp. So it's just sorting. I enjoy sorting. These can just go on the shred steel. That's a brass fitting. Not only is a snail shell, there's not much value in that, I'm sure. A swivel, yeah, that's a good swivel for like a dog chain or something. That's a terminal from a wire, and these are usually copper. Let's check that. Yep, nice and soft and pink, so that's copper. We're probably going to get a bit of scrap value out of all these things. Alright, let's just sort them. Keep sorting them into piles. We do use a magnet when sorting quite a lot. There's another bit of stainless steel. A bit of chalk is going to be rubbish. An Allen key. Alright, let's just see what we've got here. Any that are clean enough I'll put in an assortment jar. The rest of them are going to go, that's a good bolt. The rest of them are going to go in a shred bucket. Looks like some of these screws are actually stainless steel. That's where a magnet's good for sorting that sort of stuff, because I can sell a jar full of stainless steel hardware for quite a bit more than just normal hardware. Any that are overly rusty are just going to go in a shred tin. In fact, let's use this tin here. And they can just go out to the transfer station as general scrap metal. There's a good clean one. Nothing else magnetic there. So these will all be stainless steel. So we'll see what value we get out of these at the end once we've finished sorting out all the tins in this box, because hardware can add up to a fair bit of money given that I can sell it through my shop. I know a lot of you can't get much return on it. There's an O-ring from a garden hose and it's perished, so that's rubbish. And they can go in the shred, and that's rubbish. Alright, we'll sweep up, we'll continue making our piles, we'll get the next tin. And in between each tin we will sweep up. And let's get another tin out. Wow, who knew you could have so much fun emptying a box of junk? Now we have some sticky tape that's well past its use by date. Reasonably okay screwdriver. Yep, that one's alright. A tap from a drum, a 20-litre drum. Someone might have a use for that. Some hardware here all bolted together. Well, that's all useful. Another little drill bit. Looks okay. A smaller screwdriver there. That's branded Singer. So it's a sewing machine screwdriver. Yeah, a collector might even be after that. Don't imagine it's going to get a lot. We might just give it a quick clean up on the end there. This is a double adapter for light globes and a Bakelite electrical fitting. It's probably Australian made. It does say made in Australia. So Art Deco Bakelite fittings do sell. I don't know how legal they are to use, but they do sell. We have a tiny drill bit here. That's a good little one. And a pair of pliers that actually look like they're good pliers. They're just a bit rusty. They've got a brand on them. And I can't quite make that out. They're English made, so I think we'll clean those up. And they will certainly be saleable. I think I've got enough pliers here, but they're worthy of cleaning up. We also have a couple more Allen keys taped to a spanner. And there's something else taped to it. Looks like a washer. That's odd. Someone's made up their own repair kit for something. And the spanner is an English one. Oh, Star Willy is German. So that looks like a quality spanner worth cleaning up. Quick sweep up before the next tin. Okay, how are we going in here? There's a lot of stuff in here. There's an old shoehorn, but I think that's nothing more than scrap metal. Sometimes these are branded with advertisers. They were made as a promotional giveaway, and they're quite collectible, but that one's not. We have a broken hacksaw blade, an old pair of scissors. We'll check those ones out in a minute. Another paintbrush, another tin to go through. What's down the bottom? Oh, God, don't know. All sorts. There's a bit of electrical, a bit more copper pipe by the looks of it. A can of Aerostart, which seems like it's got some in it. I wonder if it's got any pressure left in the can. No, but we can actually repressurise these cans. So I do use Aerostart. Anyway, we'll go through this next tin. These scissors are pretty rusty, but they're actually stamped Germany. So I think they're worth cleaning up. We'll get something for them. All right, let's have a look in this tin. Oh, it's stuck to the bottom. Okay, electrical connector, that's fine. I have a jar for those. That's actually a stud rather than a bolt, but that's fine. It can go with the hardware. There's another one. Yeah, that one's all rusted up. They can just go with our heavy steel. But they can go with their hardware. Some graphite powder, which is empty. Totally empty. I'll have to go with the rubbish. A bit of a tube here, PVC tube or something. Don't think that's much good. That can go in the rubbish. A couple more bits of heavy steel. A piece of lead. So that's alright, we'll add to our scrap metal pile. Bit of weight there, as lead normally is. A bit of wire can just go in our shred. We have a chuck key, which I do sell a lot of those through the shop. That one looks okay. We'll just give that a clean up. I've got a pile of tools to buff up on the wire wheel. A bit of a poly pipe fitting. I have a box of those somewhere. A brass ferrule. Cool grind. Cool grind, I think, is you put this on your little sharpening stone when you're sharpening chainsaw chains. I don't think there's any. Oh, I think it's just like a wax to stop the teeth overheating, but there's either hardly any left or it's all gummed up, so that can just go in the rubbish. Another brass fitting there. We have a syringe, broken out one end, for insulin use, so someone must have been a diabetic. That's just rubbish. More heavy steel. Check with our magnet to make sure these are magnetic ones. That one's not. Might be brass. We'll check that out. That one's a bit rusty. What's in our little plastic bag here? Two more screws. They're probably PowerPoint screws, those ones. So a bit more rubbish. And I don't know what the string's off, but I don't think it's much good. And that bolt is brass, yes. Quick clean up again. Okay, there's no more tins. Let's get a couple of these bigger things out of here and then we'll tip the whole box up. What have we got here? Shallite, which is a petroleum spirit. There's hardly any left, but I do have a bottle of shallite here somewhere, so we'll top that up and the bottle can go in the recycling. We'll try and repressurize this aerostat. Alright, let's see what's in the box. Oh, the bottom of the box. Oh, we have a drill. I didn't know that was in there. Whoops, we probably shouldn't have tipped that container upside down, but too late now. Wow. Okay, the box looks pretty good. It's nice and rustic, but there's no borer holes. It just needs a good wash up, so I'll wash that up and that'll be quite saleable on its own. Let's get back to what we got here. Well, we got some copper and brass, so that's actually a gas line, LPG gas line, but I don't think I need that one, and in fact the copper's a bit corroded, so they can go in the scrap. A Black & Decker drill, we had one of those a little while back, which I've actually sold in the shop, by the way. So as long as the cord's okay on this one, we can give this a bit of a test as well. These things are virtually indestructible. I've never found one that doesn't work and work well, so we'll clean that up and test that shortly. A galvanised cap, just a cap off the top of a post that you often see on galvanised fencing. Now, what did we tip out here? Well, we have a ice cream container to help us sort things, so perhaps we can use that as our rubbish bin for the moment, just to try and free up a bit of room on the table. What we have here, a bit of foam, that's only going to be rubbish. Our snail shell. There's a couple of them here. These are the stretchy tie-down straps, or Oki straps, or whatever people call them. Once they get a bit aged, they totally perish. Yep, that's no good at all. So, unfortunately, rubbish. It looks like we need a bigger rubbish container. Some trailer wiring plugs in various states of disrepair. I think they can both just go in the e-waste. There are brass pins in there, but I don't think we'll worry about getting those out. This looks like some double-sided tape, which is no longer sticky at all, or very slightly. It's not going to be usable. A plug from an extension cord, well, that just goes in the e-waste as well. There's another plug. Well, that was a socket, the last one. This plug's a bit old to do much with, so e-waste again for that one. We do have some wire. We'll just cut the brass terminals off that, and that can go in our insulated copper wire bucket. What do we got in here? Picture hangers. Oh, they're old style plastic ones. Oh, they're unused. They'd probably still work. I think you just hammer little pins into your plasterboard or your drywall and maybe put a nail through. Look, I have a box of assorted hardware at the shop. I'll just throw those in and with it. So no real value there. The gas valve from a Primus gas bottle for like camping, probably. That'll be all brass. It's quite corroded, but it doesn't matter for scrap metal. Spring-loaded latch for a flywire door. Again, just general hardware. So we have a wood boring set, some old drills. They're quite rusty. They've been wet in the packet. It looks like this set was only $4.95. So it's only really a budget set. We might clean it up. You know what? We'd possibly still get $5 for it cleaned up. So we'll give that a bit of a clean up and see how it looks. Some more general hardware here. Looks like part of a lock assembly. We have a couple of brass keys, which could go with our brass. I do put keys in a jar and sell them. People buy them for craft work and that sort of stuff. We'll put them with the brass for now. That plate will be just steel. Yep. In with our shred stuff. Some wood screws which look like brass, but they're not. They're just brass plated, so they can go with their general hardware. Okay, we're getting through this. There's a bolt. This is quite heavy, and it's like a chain. It's sort of the sort of chain you would have on your vertical blinds or that sort of stuff. It's very heavy, so it's obviously metal and not plastic. It's not magnetic though. I wonder what it's made from. That's going to be of some value for sure. I can feel the weight just in that bit, so it's... I wonder what it's made out of. Could be brass, could be like chromed brass. Don't know what that stuff's worth, we'll check that out. Okay, a matchbox, and it's just got matches in it. Always check matchboxes, you never know what you're going to find. Don't think those matches will be any good. Usually when they get a bit old they won't strike. Let's try one. Can we get some flame? Oh, look at that. Okay, well, I shall keep these for lighting my fire in the winter. Another matchbox. Looks like more matches. Yep, so we'll put those there as well. We have a matchbook, which were often used as promotional items for businesses. This one's very faded. Looks like it was a motel, Flag Motels, Bendigo. Old phone number, probably 1980s, if not earlier. I usually have a jar at the shop, a big jar, to put all these advertising matchbooks in, and I sell them in one lot. But this one's too badly faded to worry with. We'll see if we can strike one of these. And if you've ever tried to strike one of these, they're really difficult because the matches bend so easily. They're only cardboard. The best way I used to do it was to fold the lid over the striking strip and then press down and pull. Okay, this one doesn't work. Probably the phosphorus or whatever it is too old. But that's the best way to start to strike a match on these matchbooks. If I had a fresh set here, I would prove how it works. Let's try one more. But they're obviously too old to strike. Oh, nearly. We've got a bit of a smell of it. Anyway, we won't worry about that now. They can probably just go with my matches here for lighting a fire at the shed, and I might just throw them on the fire for a bit of enjoyment one morning. A wire wheel that's very rusty would not be safe to use. You would have wire fibres going everywhere, so that's just going in the scrap. Oh, I have more galvanised fittings. These are for clamping pipes together. I'm not sure if it's actually got a name. In fact, these can all go together, I think. And I do have a box of these somewhere, so I'll just add this to the box, including the galvanised bolts. Another paintbrush, good just for washing up parts in petrol or some solvent, so that's a handy size for that. Alright, this is where our gal pipe fittings were in, and that plastic's all falling apart, so that's just rubbish. And it looks like nothing on the bench now except rubbish. One little rubber washer that's gone hard. So all this is just rubbish. That's finished the clean out. So now it's time to conclude this unboxing. I've got the notepad ready. I've cleaned up some stuff. I've done a bit of checking. And what we have, we'll start with the drill. It works as expected. These things always work. It does sound a bit dry. I just cleaned the chuck up on the wire wheel. It looks great, but it works. Seems to have plenty of power. Could use a new cord, and I'm not actually going to tag it with a safety tag as approved, because the cord's got a couple of nicks in it that's just a little bit dodgy. I think I'll tag it as unsafe but needs a new cord and only put $5 on it. It's better than what we get for scrap, and someone will probably buy it for old time's sake. What have we got over here? I didn't allow anything for this on the notepad because I'm going to keep and use these. A few little bits, drills, the tap there, matches, silicon gasket compound, the shellite, and I did pressurise the aerostart can with the air compressor, and now that works. It works okay. I mean, it's not the best way to do it, but at least we can get it out. We have a decent pile of brass, but I probably will put those keys in my jar at the shop. Copper, a little bit of lead. I do keep the lead here because I'll melt that down at some stage. The rest of it can go in my scrap bins. Now, the tools cleaned up really well. They're the pliers, and they were branded. They're English. They're Elliott Lucas. I take it we got a focus there. I think they're electrical needle nose pliers. Ultra tensile model PW 106 8-inch. They cleaned up really well. The jaws at the front are a little bit butchered. They're not too bad. One was slightly bent and I straightened it. But I'll get $10 for those easily. The little spanner, the Star Willer, something like that. German, 10mm, 11mm. Really handy little spanner in good condition. I think we'll get $10 for that. 10mm is always the size that you miss. The screwdriver I put 5 on. I think I went for 5 on their German scissors. They cleaned up quite well. And they actually feel like they would cut very well. I put 5 on the drills here. They buffed up quite well. A little bit of hardware, and if we look at the notepad in a minute, I'll let you know how I priced that. About $2 worth. A few little things I'll get $1 each in the shop. And a couple of sundries here I didn't even write down at all. They can just go, well, I'll get 5 for that when I find a top for it. And the other things can just go into various boxes at the shop. A bit of e-waste. I did end up pulling the brass pins out of those trailer plugs because they weighed a fair bit. A little bit of scrap pressing steel in those tins. Well, only one tin. The other tins will just go in the recycle bin. The box washed up quite well. It's quite a sturdy box. We wrote down $10 for that. And this chain. This is a curtain or blind chain. I think I did touch it with a file, and I'm pretty sure it's brass. And that weighs over a kilo. So even for brass, there's $7 odd. I just wrote down $10. That should sell very quickly through the shop. And I'll put down $5 for the girl fencing stuff, but I have a box of that I'll add it to. So that's all my pricing. Out of what looked like a box of total junk that most people... Okay, put your hand up if you would keep it. No one? Yep, most people would drop it in the skip if you were cleaning up a shed. And our totals, there's the hardware, $2. I worked on $10 a kilo for hardware because that's what I sell it at. Even though there's a bit of an assortment there, I'll sort it into certain jars. $5 per half kilo jar of hardware. I seem to sell heaps of that. The scrap metal only added up to about $4 for all the scrap. And then we've got other prices pretty well, as I mentioned there, giving us a total of $76. The only rubbish we got was what's in this little tub here. So, and the plastic container itself can go in the recycle bin if I don't use it. So not very much rubbish. A box of stuff sorted out, ready to go in the shop. And I don't think it's, well, the only stuff I'm keeping is a few little bits over here. So, and the scrap can go in at their respective drums, and the rest of it can go to the shop to be sold as soon as possible. So there we go, guys. Another unboxing complete, another something out of the emergency storage shed. I forgot to check the totals, but we were over $6,000 out of that shed about 2 videos ago. I don't know what we got out of the last one. I can't remember. I'll update the total in the next one. But we're going pretty well. I really enjoy actually cleaning off my bench after doing one of these because I can just box up everything that's going to go to the shop and I'll price it while I'm at the shop. And all the other bits and pieces go in their respective bins. And next thing, my bench is nice and clear, ready for something else. So it's a fun part for me. I hope you're enjoying these videos. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.